Hello everyone, this intern, and today I'm gonna just say it, man. I think Tony Stewart is probably the GOAT as far as American motorsport is concerned. I think he might be the GOAT, or maybe he just is, but he's probably the GOAT, which is why I'm gonna title this video, I think Tony Stewart is probably the GOAT. I feel like this video in and of itself is a bit premature, but I'm gonna continue on with it because this has been in my brain for a while and I just wanted to get it out in some way, shape, or form. But I don't really think it's a controversial take, if it ever was for that matter, but especially not now, especially where American motorsport is concerned. I think Tony Stewart's probably the GOAT. If somebody walks up to you and says, Tony Stewart, the greatest American racing driver of all time, don't think it would be a wild take, personally. I really don't. Let's go over it, because we have guys like Mario Andretti, won an Indy 500, a Daytona 500, a Formula One World Championship. I get that. We got AJ Foyt. There are other names that you could say, you could put in that sentence that I would also agree with. But I think there's a legit argument for Tony right now. And there's been one for a while, but especially right now. Because if there wasn't before, I think what he's done in the NHRA this season should definitely silence those who don't think he's in the debate. For those of you who, like myself, who don't really follow NHRA, National Hot Rod Association's drag racing, basically, I'll give you a little crash course. Our protagonist, Tony Stewart, is second in the top fuel category, which is basically the Cup series of drag racing. And he's doing this at 54 years old. A 54-year-old man. And granted, it's not that crazy for old people to be successful at drag racing. I mean, John Force literally exists. But when you add this to everything Tony Stewart has done in his career, it's just insane. Like, you start from the very beginning. This guy was a world karting champion, World Karting Association champion in the late 80s. He won the USAC Triple Crown. And that was basically his gateway into IndyCar. And yes, IndyCar. He's an IndyCar champion. And I think this is the part of his career that people really don't bring up enough when talking about how great Tony Stewart is. It tends to fly under the radar, probably because of how much his NASCAR career fills up the bulk of his success. But this guy was an IndyCar champion that left IndyCar to pursue a NASCAR career in 1999. And in doing so, had one of the greatest rookie seasons, probably the greatest rookie season in Cup history. 4th in points with 3 wins. Yeah, honestly, like, how many rookie seasons even come close to that? Hamlin, Jimmy Johnson maybe, but you could argue Tony Stewart had the best rookie season in the history of Cup. And let's just talk about the fact that he made that transition from IndyCar to NASCAR and was as successful as he was. Because how many other IndyCar drivers can you say the same thing about? Franchitti tried NASCAR, didn't really work out that well. Montoya, he left Formula One to do NASCAR, and granted, he did pretty well, honestly, for being real. He won 2 races, and he was pretty good, especially given the fact that he was in Ganassi equipment that wasn't necessarily upper echelon. But Tony Stewart, they gave this guy a top car, and he immediately produced results. 3 wins as a rookie. And 4 years into his Cup career, he was a champion in 02. And he won it under a full season format. Which is good because he ended up winning his next 2 championships under the chase format. And even those formats were under different point systems. So 2002, 2005, 2011, 3 different point scoring systems. 3 different championships. And he won them all, man. He won the Brickyard 400 as an Indiana native. He's the only racing driver in history to complete the Indy 500 Coke 600 double. And look how many people have tried it. Look how many people have tried the Indy 500 Coke 600 double. He's still the only one that's ever actually finished it. And then you look at Stewart-Haas Racing. He starts Stewart-Haas Racing in 2009. And by 2011, he's a champion. An owner-driver champion. First guy to do it since Kulwicki in 92. And on top of that, he won the championship again as an owner with Harvick in 2014. And you could argue they could have probably won a couple more championships if things went their way, right? He never won the Daytona 500. And that's something that people hold against him a lot, which I understand. But he's won pretty much everything there is to win when it comes to Daytona, except maybe the Rolex 24 and the Daytona 500. He's won like 7 Xfinity races at Daytona. He's won the shootout. He's won duels. I'm pretty sure he's even won IROC at Daytona. He's pretty much a draft master when it comes to Daytona, right? But he also won the Daytona 500 as an owner with Kurt Busch in 2017. He won 49 Cup races and 3 championships. And then he won 70 Cup races as an owner and 2 championships. And not to mention 29 Xfinity wins and the 2023 championship with Custer. And so far I've spoken about the pavement success. What about the dirt? Tony Stewart won the Chili Bowl in 2002. He's won a World of Outlaws sprint car race. He's a World of Outlaws winner. He's won with dirt late models. He owns a sprint car team with Donnie Schatz. Yeah? This guy's had Steve Kinzer drive for him and drive his 410 sprint cars before. Yeah? Not to mention, let's go to SRX. I don't know how much this plays a role in the GOAT debate, but why not, man? SRX, he founded a series to bring some of the old guard back into the sport in some way. And it was a good time, man, for the 3 seasons it existed. And he won the SRX championship, which is pretty good. And now you fast forward to right now, and he's killing it in drag racing in his 50s. He's in all kinds of Hall of Fames. I know this video probably comes off like a Wikipedia page read, but seriously, like, in terms of just contributions to American motorsport as both a driver, a businessman, a team owner, how can he not be considered one of, I mean, obviously he's one of the great, but let's talk about the actual greatest, man. Why not? He posted this to his Instagram. I'm gonna put it on the screen now. Look at all of these accomplishments, man. Look at all of these cars. Cup, Xfinity, trucks, ARCA, IndyCar, midgets, Silver Crown, IROC. You can read the rest. But like, come on now, man. Tony Stewart to me has accomplished the 3 pillars, in my opinion, of American motorsport, man. Oval racing on pavement, oval racing on dirt, and drag racing. Those to me are the 3 pillars of motorsport in America. Unless you want to sprinkle in sports cars, I see it. But in terms of just American motor racing, like, do you know how crazy it is to be able to win in this many types of machinery? You know, I value versatility a lot, and I think the people that tune into this channel know that. I use it as one of the biggest gauges when I'm trying to determine greatness in racing. And again, everything I'm just showing you right now, in terms of him as a racing driver, is excluding him as a team owner and as a businessman. If Tony Stewart wins the Top Fuel Dragster Championship this year, he'll have an IndyCar Championship, a NASCAR Championship, and an NHRA Championship. Top flight championships to his name. You seeing my vision? He's literally like AJ Foyt 2.0. And it's fitting because Foyt is his hero. And they both had the 14 and all of that, but like, they both had the Indy success. Foyt's probably the greatest IndyCar driver of all time. They both had somewhat success in NASCAR. Obviously, Tony Stewart's NASCAR legacy completely demolishes Foyt's, even though Foyt was pretty good. And they have dirt success. Foyt was a dirt guy. And they both have team ownership success. And if we're being real, Stewart-Haas Racing has accomplished more than AJ Foyt Racing in terms of in their respective categories. But yeah, man, I believe in giving people their flowers while they're still around to appreciate them. Tony Stewart was probably my favorite NASCAR driver outside of Jimmy Johnson. So it's very nice seeing him successful this late into his career. Because I was there for the final seasons of Tony Stewart in the Gen 6 days, and they weren't the most successful. 2015 was hard. It was a hard time to be a Tony Stewart fan. He kind of picked up the pace in 2016. He came back after his injury, won Sonoma, made the chase for the last season of his career, even though it wasn't that successful a chase. But the last seasons of Tony Stewart weren't that great, man. But it didn't diminish the fact that he's still one of the greatest. I think he's America's GOAT. I really do. But I'd love to open the discussion, yeah? I think it's something that we could have a back and forth about. I think there are a lot of names you could bring up in this scenario that would be justified. And I think if you have a couple of those names, feel free to bring them up in the comment section below and we'll talk it out. But I want to open the debate. Who is America's racing GOAT? Is it Tony Stewart? Is it somebody else? Like, has this video convinced you that it is? Let me know. Let me hear it below, man. My name is Intern, I talk wheel, and thanks for watching.